Thank you guys for tuning into CWHipHop's podcast. I'm your host, DJ bvnc, aka Bang. Co-host, we got Prizm here. We also have Garke in the building. Why don't you guys go ahead and say hi?
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another podcast. Yo, welcome back, guys. Thanks for listening in this week.
We also have two guests this week. We have LF and Wavy Lynn. Why don't you guys go ahead and say hi, and where can we find you guys on social media?
I'm Wavy Lynn, and you can find me on SoundCloud at Wavy Lynn, Wavy_Lynn. I'm actually gonna start getting my my Instagram and my Twitter, all that up and running. Currently, I don't really do anything on it, but we're working,
yeah.
Yeah. What's up? It's LF. You can find me on Instagram at Lucas W. Foley, on Twitter at LucasFoley14, and on SoundCloud as LF or Spotify or wherever else you get your music.
Perfect. All right. Why don't you guys go give them a follow? You guys have been doing, when we first started CWHipHop, it was more hip-hop influence, but you've kind of, over the year, kind of changed course. Why don't we get into that right away? What kind of music can the listener expect to hear from you?
So, from me, LF, older SoundCloud stuff, you're going to find more traditional rap, a little emo rap. As of late, you're going to find a lot of pop punk, a lot of metal stuff, a couple covers, things like that.
Okay, all right.
So back when I started, it was on the Wavy Lynn page, it was more just straightforward hip hop, I would say. A lot of not auto-tune rap as well. But now, as of late, it's more like ambient, and it is, I have hyper pop songs, and it's really spacey things, and I do some repetitive stuff as well. Just really experimental, trying stuff out. But
yeah,
It's always good to try.
Yeah. Lucas always said you can't call it bad if it's experimental.
Hey, that's fair. That is very fair.
That's facts.
So what kind of made you shift over to the new sound that you wanted? What was it that kind of influenced it? Just kind of got done with hip hop?
I don't think it's done. I think it a lot goes to what you're listening to at the time. So at the time it was a lot of emo rap, a lot of Lil Peep, and my earlier stuff was a ton of Logic and artists similar to him. And in the last couple of years, I've gotten way more into pop punk, post punk, a lot of metal, and for the last year I've just been learning kind of how to incorporate that sound.
For me, I think changing music just is like a natural progression for a lot of people, and it kind of depends on what you're listening to at the time, because whether you admit it or not, every person reflects what they listen to in their current music. It's just it just happens. You can't control it. And as I've been starting to listen to more ambient hip hop artists like Pierre Bourne and stuff, it's just naturally started to progress in a way that it's not imitating. It's more just testing my mixing and my mastering as well into a different area of music. Mm-hmm. So,
what's something you kind of learned within the new style with mixing?
So I've gotten a lot better at my EQing. I used to just put a preset on my EQ, and it was.
I remember doing that.
It was like the worst. It was like the worst option you could have picked.
All of the options.
It was like the perfect EQ for a drum kick that I put on my vocals. And when you listen to my old stuff, you can definitely hear it, because I sound like I'm speaking around the room. And it sounds like I'm in a garage, so it's really bad. But I'm really proud of it as of late.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with the mixing and mastering, it seems especially in the early parts, you learn something new between every track you make, and for me, and I think Devin too, that really hasn't stopped. So with any of the newer stuff, learning your DAW and getting to know that, and then also experimenting with different plugins, different styles of EQing, your reverb levels, your delay, and any of those one thing I've incorporated a lot of in the last 6 months especially is pitch change. Just a lot of formant and pitch change and adding a lot of that stuff. So it seems the second you learn something new with mixing, you're that has to go in there. That's just part of it now.
Yeah.
You have to do it right away next song. There's no delay on that.
Yeah, with mixing, I felt it as I thought it was going to slow down on me learning stuff, but literally every time I touched the DAW again, I learned 3-4 new things. And yeah, so I completely see where you're coming from with that.
So we use FL.
Yeah.
What do you guys use for DAWs?
I use FL as well.
Yeah, I use Ableton.
Ableton?
Ableton, I thought it was Logic.
So why do you use FL?
So my buddy Elliott Anderson actually got me into producing music, and he used FL. And I mean, it's just always been worth it so far, because when you open up FL for the first time, boy, that's intimidating.
Oh
yeah.
There's 250 buttons looking at you, and I didn't even know how to record my mic. I didn't even know how to put
Not only that, you open up an instrument and there's another several hundred buttons looking at you.
Here I am trying to record my voice, and I got 3 snares running. Because it's a DAW for producing as well, so it's really complex. But now that I've learned it, it's like the possibilities just seem endless. I've never been limited by my DAW, and that's like the biggest thing for me. So
Yeah, and with like Ableton, I think a lot of us start with Audacity. I know you did, Prizm, but so you start with Audacity because it's the free recording program, and I moved to Ableton because my buddy Hayden Ketchum, no free shoutouts, but Hayden Ketchum, he kind of showed me, like, he was using Ableton for producing, mixing, and mastering his vocals and just making his entire song. And he showed me some mixing tips. He kind of showed me the outline of the program and how to like navigate it and use it. And I mean, he gave me like my first like vocal chain to try to use for here's what I use to sound pretty good. And he kind of sent that over to me, like, you can probably just use this and play with it from there. And yeah, I mean, it's really nice because once you learn your DAW, you can do a lot of presets and you can kind of have like your baseline of like every time I do vocals now, it's like I have just like a chain of different effects that I pull up right away, and then I play with it from there. Like, that's my base.
Exactly.
Like, because I don't want to hear raw. No one does. So I'd rather at least hear some of, like, a slight mix, and then you go from there for your mix and master.
Yeah, I've recently been getting into presets because it's a little bit weird to do in FL to put presets on your voice, but once you figure it out, it's not really bad.
Yeah, Ableton makes it super easy. It's definitely, like, I mean, I think every DAW when you open it is ridiculously intimidating. Ableton was the same way. I tried using Logic once, and I had no idea what to do. But like once you learn those programs, like once you learn your DAW, like you can be a master. Like I know Zachy P's on this station, and he is like a Logic connoisseur. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
I mean, just what he can do in Logic, and he'll tell you first too. He knows how to navigate it, but he knows he hasn't even scratched the surface of what it's capable of. And he makes some good stuff out of it.
Yeah, his mixing is pretty top tier.
Yeah, it's top notch.
So with, I think it's been about a year now, for the audience who doesn't know, we actually had LF on the station about a year ago, because I can remember hearing my neighbor mowing in the background while editing that.
First interview?
Yeah, it was the first ever interview. Like, no idea what the mics did. Like, it was just hit record and, like, trying to hope for the best. So we've definitely come a long way since that year.
Yeah.
And I remember asking you about, like, what kind of music you listen to, and the one that I remember was, what was it, American Football or something? Yeah. It was like self-titled. That was your favorite album?
Yep.
So kind of go into, over the last year, what's changed with your music taste? What are you listening to currently?
Not a whole lot. I mean, there's definitely still a fair mix of American football. A lot of it now is just like, artists similar to that. There's a lot of pop punk still. I think in the last year it's been a lot more metalcore. So bands like Counterparts, Make Them Suffer. There's a couple different like just artists like that really I just listen to on a daily. And then I like bands like American Football because American Football is just like pure emo and they have a lot of ambient sound. Actually, Wavy kind of got me back into listening to Silverstein, which
yeah, I was listening to that on the way here.
Hell of a band, and just stuff like that. I mean, it's a lot of it's a lot of screams and a lot of just
screams.
It's a lot of angsty stuff for sure. Angsty teen stuff. Except we're in our mid-20s.
Yeah. Relatable.
Yeah. Have you done any shows since COVID, or you're waiting until kind of everybody's vaccinated and all that fun stuff? Or
I mean, we're ready to do another one. I think obviously with how shows were for the last like year and a half, they haven't been. We actually, I think most of you guys were there. We did a show last year at a local place called Night School, and that was like the last weekend before the shutdowns. Because I do remember like we did that show, everybody was there, like masks really didn't exist yet, and like that Monday was when like a lot of our jobs like shut down stuff. I know like just everything was like, every business was like lobbies closed, you know, anywhere with like a drive-through or drive-up, you had to go through that. So we did that right as COVID like started, because I don't think anybody maybe anticipated the severity of how that was going to go. But yeah, I haven't done anything since that, but I mean, we're ready to do something. Yeah,
I was going to say it's people do tend to think that people aren't doing anything because of COVID, and that the participation would be low and that they wouldn't get, you know, their monies out of it. But, you know, as a starting artist, and me and Lucas have been going at it for years and years now, you know, I've spent money playing shows before. I spent money to go to Eau Claire. I didn't make a cent out of it, and I drove through a snowstorm to get there to play that show. And he almost came with me, but the snow was so bad that by the time he tried to come out, they basically shut down the highway almost. So
yeah, I tried to leave work that day. I got on the highway and I had to get off on the first exit after that.
Oh boy,
it was about a 1 mile thing, and it took me about 15 minutes to do it.
And that's what I'm saying too. Is if you're not willing to, like, you know, maybe not death-defying conditions like that, but, you know, if you're not willing, if you think
you have to drive through snowstorm to perform, it's Wisconsin weather, like it's
true.
It's part of the job.
That's actually facts, though. We are in Wisconsin.
Depending on the severity, though, like, don't be stupid.
Bad, you want to perform?
If school is open, you're coming.
If it takes you 15 minutes to go a mile, though, like, don't go.
And I mean, Eau Claire was like an hour and a half drive or something.
Yeah. It's not.
But like I said, if you're a new artist, you know, it's you obviously set the boundaries for yourself, but you shouldn't always expect to just, you know, be balling right off the beginning. You know, it's like if you like what's a better sign of someone truly loving music than paying to go out of their way, taking a day off of getting paid to go to a show to perform music for however many people show up. You know, it's like I mean that's built different right there. That's plain built different.
Yeah, a big thing that I said was, if you're in this for money, you're going to quit right away. Mm-hmm. Like, you're going to hate it. Because you're not making money right away.
Construction or something.
Yeah. There's other jobs with a lot of money in it.
Yeah. Yes, this industry is not for instant gratification.
It is for passion, and if you don't have it, fucking get out.
But I think
you're going to hate it.
I think the cool thing is that we have a lot of an unbuilt field here that we can mold to our own and like start building some venues, because there's not many here. There's Night School. Did you guys, was the Saw Cypher at the Q&Z Center?
Yeah, it was Q&Z Expo Center.
Okay, that's another one. I've seen one downtown Wausau that's a venue, and it looks like a venue eatery bar thing, so I don't even know if they like, there's a lot of places that are like venues that we would never just be able to get into, so it's something that we're gonna have to work on, but once we do, it's gonna be like it's catered to us, like hip-hop artists here. And
it should be said, I mean, we're in the Midwest. Country is the thing that a lot of people listen to. Jazz is a big thing too. That place you were mentioning, I think, is a jazz club. They do where you can hear it from outside all the time downtown, and it's like I still think we're at the point where hip hop is just it's a bit of a niche kind of thing, because like this is a grown community for dudes who work blue collar jobs and weld, and it's just like, you know, not all of them are listening to Young Boy, you know.
They're not listening to CWHipHop.
That rap crap, you know. That's what they're saying. It's just like
it's a stigma behind it.
It is, and local hip hop definitely has a stink to it. Like nobody wants to listen to that. Like you're telling me you make local hip hop, you're like, oh, okay. But like there are some good artists here. It's like that's the thing. It's like the whole state of Wisconsin. We're trying to show people like you can actually listen to these people and like now go watch them live. Kind of spawned off of like, I think it was B+, Dom, and JD did a concert, and like right before COVID, like when we saw your concert at Night School, it was like, we can't let this die. Like we got to make sure this comes back stronger than when it was before COVID, to make sure that we were keeping that energy alive, because it was like, oh dude, this sucks, like we don't know how long this is gonna be shut down, and it's now like about a year plus. Like, I think it's definitely gonna come back stronger, and like more people are gonna be able to perform. There were like 7 artists maybe, like how many, and then one was down in Milwaukee. Zach, he had to drive up for it.
Yeah, I mean, Night School we had, I think we had 6 or 7 people, and I mean it was a big set, but you know it's kind of like the show has to fit the venue. So like a nightclub, yes, we fit in. Like Q&Z was even a weird one, but that Q&Z show was a huge success. Like the guys that put it together, especially like, you know, the flashback sponsorship and how that whole thing was promoted. I mean, there was more than 200 some people there at one point, and like there was a lot of people, there was a lot of like artists that people wanted to see, and that drew out the younger crowd, especially with Q&Z, because they're an all ages venue where, you know, I think now we're all kind of getting a little older, so like the bar thing isn't, obviously we can all go to bars now. And like at that time especially, like some of the artists weren't even over 21, so like getting into like bar venues for us is a little bit harder because they, you know, the stigma is like, especially that the audience is younger for this kind of music. Like you know, if you want to try to perform at like a local bar or, you know, anywhere like that, they're gonna go, who are you gonna bring in? Like they don't,
for sure,
they realistically, I imagine they probably don't care what it sounds like, as long as you bring people in that are going to buy drinks. You got to make them money.
That's the only point.
You got to make them enough money to make it worth it that they're going to book you instead of somebody else that same weekend. So I think, you know, in the next couple of years, we're going to see that like that crowd, especially like that crowd that came to Q&Z, like they're going to age. You know, they're going to be old enough to go to these places, and we're going to see like more places like that are kind of like more open to the idea of like, yeah, we could have a rap show, we could have a hip hop show. And I mean, the biggest thing is, I imagine they probably, a lot of those places just have never even been reached out to by.
That's the thing, is like we have our own sound system now, so we can literally supply the whole thing. It's just we need a spot to do it. Even if we do this for a couple years, they're the listeners 18, 5 years down now they're well over 21. That's like, now it's an established base that can go to a bar, and you can pretty much like, what is the one thing we have more than churches in Wisconsin? It's probably bars. Like there are plenty of bars, and you can fill
welders
40 to 50 people. Yeah, you can fit 40 to 50 people can like fill a bar, and like we have a big enough audience, and it's like if we can go around the state traveling and have artists all over the place there, do multiple shows, multiple weekends, like just line up a big circle of it all, and you have a couple artists from around 2-3 hours that would probably drive just for a good time to perform.
Yeah, and I mean, you just gotta like put yourself out there as far as reaching out to those guys. I mean, to set up our night school show, that was all Zachy P, and you know, the start of that was he just DM night school, like, hey, you know, we've got some people that get some plays. Would you guys consider doing like a show with us? And you know, they went over kind of the logistics of the whole thing and set up a date, and that was it. You know, and we had a pretty good show there. It's a good time.
For sure.
Yeah, right now it was just like COVID, waiting for that to kind of everybody get vaccinated thing. Make sure there wasn't gonna be like a second lockdown. I don't know. For me, it was like, are they gonna do it? Like, who knows what's gonna happen? Kind of up in the air. So I was like, get the system. Now it's gonna be like things are opening up. I've seen multiple concerts get booked for what? We have one in September we're going to in Minneapolis. September, late August is looking like what they're gonna be doing for concerts. So even within the next couple months, that's definitely gonna be something that we're gonna start pushing, and we're reaching out to a few places and getting the ins and the connections made, so that way when we do have everything going, it's go time. What do you guys got for? You guys have quite a few friends that make music, right?
Yeah.
So like,
Plenty.
what other genres do they make? Like, is there other scenes of music that you've seen? I mean, being that you guys are kind of veering off of hip hop.
I'll let you describe Elliott Anderson.
Yeah, so like I said, he showed me when I was I started in Duluth. I lived in Duluth when I started making music. You could say started, but I really didn't actually make vocal music with my vocals till I started in Wisconsin here. But in Duluth we actually met at a Smash Bros tournament, because that's what we just did.
Nice.
And from there we just expressed like music, because I think we carpooled once, and he was listening to stuff that I like, that I still listen to this day, and he's like, he was just playing a lot of music, and I'm like, you know, dang, who is this? And he was like, that's me, and I'm like, that's you.
That's you.
And at that time he was still just like amazing at it, and I mean like as of current day, he's like the best producer I know, pure and simple. He makes all his own beats. He doesn't even sample half the time. He really just knows it in and out. He started with, I would say, like more emo rap, really like almost sad boy-esque, really lo-fi kind of stuff too. But he is, if you know who 93 Feet of Smoke is, he's a SoundCloud person who's pretty big. He gets more into the screamy things, like the screamy music, but it's not emo like Lucas's. It is still screaming over hip hop, but it's and it can get aggressive like NASCAR Aloe if it wants to, but it can also be really subdued emo with screaming. So
okay.
And he also veers into hyper pop and stuff, which is why I'm on a song with him, which is just really like, you know, like really fast kick, like high tempo stuff. And he also plays a few instruments, so we had a ukulele song.
All right.
And it's just a lot of stuff, but it really does stay within the realm of hip hop, I would say.
Okay,
So,
and who was that you were saying?
Elliott Anderson.
Elliott Anderson.
And I have plenty of songs with him.
I think we have a feature. There's a...
Actually, yeah.
You May Have No Hard Feelings Part 2.
Yes,
and that
that
would be
one.
with Elliott Anderson.
Yeah, because he's obviously met him as well. He's friends with him as well now. So, but yeah, I would really like to have him on a lot. But it's just like we take pride in our songs, and we don't really push things out just because we feel we need to put more out. It just comes naturally. Like I'm in school more than double full time now, so I don't make a lot right now. But as it comes to me, I still put it out. You know, it's I don't ever want to feel like a job to me.
Yeah, keep it a hobby.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of artists I think we all know. My good friend Hayden Ketchum, you know, he makes a lot of stuff that's, I would say, indie-esque, a lot of pop stuff, and I mean, it's just so well mixed, mastered. The kid's got pipes, he can sing like crazy, and it's, you know, his production is really good. And there's some other people in the area too. I mean, obviously Zachy P is from this area, and I did a full rap album with him a couple years ago. And, you know, he's even been experimenting to a little bit more of the emo side. And, you know, he just released his album with Zill. Nothing but bangers.
Oh, yeah.
And,
dude,
like, those
so
guys.
fire.
And, you know, there's a
we have
lot
one of
of
the
them.
songs with Zachy P tonight. We're going to be playing every night. That's one that's... I don't have you featured on there, like, in the titling, but it's like, when you hear it, you're like, oh, this is one of Lucas's, like,
Yeah,
verses.
I'm gonna
like,
sue
it's so...
you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. I just didn't want to... I didn't want to pay you.
I'm going to shut this down. But, yeah, I mean, there's so many artists, and, like, you know, we've all got... I mean, I kind of getting into, like, the metal scene a couple years ago. Met a lot of the guys from, like, the local metal bands. So, like, Constance, there's a now former band Beyond Atlas. One of, like, my decent friends, Evan Jordan, he's the guitarist in Quiet Kind, and he's doing kind of his own side project called the Seattle Forecast that's coming up. And I mean, so many people just have so many different lanes, but even like when they're in their lane, they want to veer. Like, we all want to try new stuff, and he's been doing a lot of, you know, a lot more EDM-y type stuff in some cases, and he's doing just really ambient stuff, but at the same time, like, that's his side project. And then for his band Quiet Kind, it's just it's metal. I mean, it's just hard chugging. It's just hard. I mean, I got no other way to describe it. It's just hard.
If I could touch on two more people I could think of in the scene that I wish would like do more, in the sense that I just want to see them be on it more. Marathon Beats.
I remember you telling us last interview. Yeah.
He is my twin brother, and he's been out of it.
Damn.
He's been out of it for a while. I heard he was like studying abroad or something, and he basically his computer had a problem. It deleted all his stuff.
Oh no!
So he had to get everything back, and it really just took a hit, you know.
Yeah.
And that's hard to recover from.
It is.
And he was like, it's been like a 2-year break, so he has to relearn everything while he sees me and Lucas, because we've really never stopped. So it's like there's just a mountain to climb. So I just wish he would get back in that. And the other one is Mr. Incredible. Absolute, very insane producer. He used to make songs more often with his vocals. Now he's more into making beats and selling them, because it's definitely something he perseveres at. But God, do I just miss hearing his voice on a lot of songs. And I have features.
Do you know what he makes? Sells them on, I mean, the beats he makes?
Is it Track Train? Or
it's one of like the main beat pages. It's either BeatStars or Track Train, if I remember.
BeatStars, okay.
It's one of the two.
Yeah.
I mean, you can find him on Instagram at Mr. Incredible Beats, but he was
at the he was actually at our show at
he did.
night
He performed
school,
at night school with us as well. I think
he drove down from where?
He was living in Ableton at the time. I don't know if he still is, but he drove in from that. I mean, he opened the show and he killed it. But yeah, his
And it takes a lot to open a show. Believe me, I've done it.
I mean, he's an
hard.
audio engineer through and through. I mean, as far as
he's
his
actually a trained audio engineer.
Yeah, his vocals and the way he mixes and masters everything is just absolutely insane. It's always so clean, and I mean, his style is just so fun to
I
listen
need
to.
the return. I'm fiending. So
Yeah, because one thing we want to do with producers, I remember you telling me about Marathon Beats, is we want to start selling the producers like snippets, so that we can help like artists connect with local producers. So
For sure.
If you're hearing this, send it in. We want to start. We want to start getting a kind of collab. Just send like a 30-second snippet in your best beats, where to find it, selling. If it's on BeatStars, what we could do honestly is like make a CWHipHop page, make a playlist of the beats, and then you can go through there. And if you vibe with one, so one thing I love about BeatStars, you can listen through like 100 beats until one hits, and then you're like, all right, now we're making a song. So I mean, that's the way to do it. This is the future of producers.
Surfing with your DAW open and effects on.
It's like, oh, free download, yeah, sure, let's make a song and then buy it. Never done that before. Yeah, so you got Mr. Incredible, Marathon Beats. Any other friends you got to make music? You got quite a few.
We do have quite a few.
Yeah, I mean, one, he's more famous in a different lane, but Ryan Reeves, better known as Simply N64 on Twitter.
Yeah.
He is a fairly large Twitch streamer. For most of 2020, he held the world record for Super Mario 64 speedrunning.
Really?
But he also makes some great songs on SoundCloud.
Yep.
I mean,
I think he's got 100,000, 200,000 plays on his most recent.
Yeah, so he, I mean, he's mainly a Twitch streamer at this point, and that's what he's most known for, but do not sleep on the music. It is good, it's well mixed, it's well made, and I mean, the guy through and through is an entertainer. He's a performer, and he'll do it for anybody, and his music, it shines through. Just the energy, the happiness, just what you feel when you listen to it, it's there. Yeah. So I would like to see some more songs out of him, but I know he's a busy guy.
Yeah, streaming is not as easy as people think. It really isn't,
No,
especially
it's
when
not.
that
It's
is
on
your
a grind.
full-time
Yeah,
job.
both of these two stream.
Yeah, I used to.
yeah.
I quit doing that because it's a full-time job. There's just so much that goes into it.
I guess one more to shout out because I just thought of it. One other local artist that, as far as their sound, just the professionalism of their production and the way it's set up is 2 a.m. Two of our boys from our school, and it's absolutely nuts what they make, and just the level of production more than anything is kind of what shines through. The songs are great, they have substance, the beats are always good, but the way it's just put together, if you heard it out, you'd be like, this could be anybody. This could just be a professional song. This could be on the radio.
Got me in my feelings, and it's weird to get in your feelings from a guy you knew in high school. It's like sometimes you feel disconnected to people you know, but it's weird when you can get in your feelings to a song sung by people you've talked to in normal conversation before.
Yeah, so I mean, those boys deserve a shout out too. I mean, they kill it every time, and their mixing and mastering is just, it's next level. It's nuts how well it's done.
Yeah. Just two more quick shout outs. I collabed with Brendan Bears. I think he's actually got songs on here.
Who?
Brendan Bears. He goes by Bears now, just Bears. He should. I mean,
I don't think so.
He's a great local artist.
Yeah, Don, send it in.
He has one song on my album that is a early release from his coming album. Brendan Bears, shout out him. And then Dominicus, the artist, like I said, he's in Eau Claire. He's making new things every day. We collab at him. I met him at my first show. He's just a cool dude. And I have one song with him. And other than that, for truly local artists, I could tell you a lot in Duluth and stuff. But for here in Wisconsin, those are the guys, especially because of COVID going down. I don't get to meet new people all the time. So.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sure there's some we missed, and if they hear this, we're gonna get some text messages, I'm sure. But I mean, those are the boys that are coming on.
I hope so. You better
off
be
the top of the
listening
head.
to this on CWHipHop.
Yeah, those.
You're gonna shout out Tyler Schultz for his feature.
For Pig. Yeah, shout out Pigpen for his feature on a song from 4 years ago.
I'm pretty sure it was in the right key, dude.
Yeah, definitely was. Definitely was.
I think so. Automatic, shout out Automatic. No, he got family now, so
yeah, he's
chilling.
He's busy.
Yeah, we've had a few artists, even just from starting this within the year, just start and stop making music. Just things going on. How many have we?
The Mountain is when you're at the bottom, you're looking at the entire mountain. You're not, you don't start anywhere but the bottom. I'm sorry, but you just don't. Unless you were born with, God's voice or something, but...
money.
More money. That helps
exactly.
a lot.
And it does, because you can pay people to mix your stuff, and you can pay for the right equipment. And I'm not saying the right equipment is going to get you far, but that Yeti snowball ain't going to get you far either. So
It'll get you starting off, though.
There's a baseline you need to be introduced into it. So you do have to have money to start, but you don't need to start with the best of the best.
Yeah.
No.
Because just figure out if you like it. Me and him made a whole album off of the worst equipment I can think of, and we still love that album to this day, because that's like where we started.
Way more of your favorite artists use a Blue Yeti Pro than anything else. I mean, there's so many different things, and I think a lot of artists get so just locked in on like the equipment they need, and your equipment it's important. Obviously, you need something decent, but like some of your favorite songs were recorded on a Blue Yeti Pro, a Audio Technica AT2020. I mean,
it's
Zachy
P's
P's first few albums were all on a 2020 USB mic. Mine are all on a 2035. Wavy's are on a Blue Yeti Pro, and even now, like and you hear way more now, like how important mixing is, because you can use a decently cheap mic and do that. I mean, there's so many artists that swear by there's a really popular mic called the Shure SM7B, and it's $400. That mic's awesome. It's like the go-to, like best known. You go on Guitar Center, Musician's Friend. That's like the mic where they're like, home studio, buy this mic, and it's $400. And I mean, especially in the beginning, that's steep for a lot of artists, and you don't need it. Like, you need something, but you do not need it. Some of your favorite stuff is made on equipment way less expensive than you would ever think, because those guys know how to mix and master their vocals. And also, I think, realistically, if you learn to mix on a cheap mic, it's going to be way better when you get a better mic in the future.
Oh, yeah.
Just one small tip for like anyone starting new, and it's hard because when you start, you may not believe it yourself, but have some chutzpah, have some balls. You need to portray like you believe in your music, because if you make music that doesn't even sound like you believe what you're saying, that shit's trash. I'm sorry. And it is, because if you're putting out something is inferior and you don't believe in it, and you're nervous to show everybody, and you explain 5 minutes why it sounds this bad before you show it to someone, you need to change it. Because I was like that too.
That's a good point, though.
I was like that too, though. But if you don't believe in the music you're making, and you're scared to, dude, are they really gonna background check me to see if I have 100 bands? Dude, shut up. You're either feeling it or you're not, and it's like, that's just what hip hop's about. If I can't name one rapper who's good and it right now who's a timid person who doesn't believe in their music, and it's as easy as just maybe just don't care, and I mean, obviously care about your music, but at the end of the day, people are talking, you're making music, Yeah, they can keep talking, you're still making music.
If you want a good book for that confidence, what's the Russ book?
Russ's book.
Get Out of Your Head.
Get Out of Your Head, yeah.
Get Out of Your Head.
It's a super good book for just motivational purposes. It just talks about getting out of your own way.
You even have to be confident to make sad music, because I'd say you have to be more confident, because you have to be way more in touch with yourself, and you have to show people, you're presenting your emotions to people. That's hard. Yeah. He could probably tell you way more about that.
What do you mean I'm unhappy?
That's real stuff.
No, it's real, and just to kind of put a bow on the mixing thing. Yeah, I mean, if you're not confident, Zachy P can vouch for this, because he's gotten this text back from me multiple times. If you send anybody something and you have to preface it with it's not quite finished mixing, or I still have to master it, cool, send it back when you do that. Yeah. I'm not listening to it then. If you give me a prereq on what I'm listening to, I just started this, cool, send it back when you finish, because you have to get to where you're all right, this is the best I'm going to make it, and then I'll give you an opinion on it. If there's still room to work, that you think there's still room to work, if you still have mixing, mastering, whatever it is, you got to redo the vocals, cool, do that. Don't send it to me until then.
I will say, though, just as a counter to it, sometimes when I'm experimenting on music, I have to send it to them, so I'm not going down a rabbit hole of like this is just straight trash, and like I probably should not invest the time into it.
Well, also because I am the mixer, so I have to know if like I'm able to even work with what you're giving me.
Yeah, like
just be honest. Is like
I guess it's a little different when it comes to sending it to your person who is mixing for you compared to
we're
sending
more of a
it to someone
teamwork
else.
than it's like sending it to like a friend, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
it's
no,
like
I mean,
when
at
you
the end of
like
the day,
if you
you
send it
each
to me
other.
and you have to preface it with that, it's more just like it's like, oh, I still have to do this, and it's like, okay, if you want my full opinion, do what you're telling me you have to do, and then send it back so I can give you like, here's where you can improve now, even though you seem to have exhausted all your options. I mean, I get, you send a video, little 10-20 second snippet to somebody right when you make something, like, yeah, if you do it right in the beginning, like before you even mix or master anything, like, is this garbage? And if they reply like, nah, keep it going. Okay, keep going. But like, if you do most of a song or almost all of a song and you send it over that way, it's like, why are you sending me 90%? Send me 100.
Is it worth sending anything but the best you can do?
Exactly.
Do you want the world to hear your? Are you really gonna give the world your 25%, buddy? Here's your change. I don't want your 25% at your best song. Give me your all or don't give me anything.
Yeah, like if you want my opinion on it, it's like I want to hear like what you're telling me you're gonna do. I don't want to hear like without that. I want to hear everything you put into it, and then I can kind of tell you like, here's what I hear, here's what might need to be changed or whatever else. Here's my opinion of what might need to be changed, and like if you gave your all and then you still have to edit it, that's fine. But if you're telling me right off the bat like I didn't give it my all, it's not quite finished.
Yeah.
Do it. Finish it
If
first.
you want them to give their all, just you give your all too, because it can't be a one-way relationship. That's gonna end quick. You don't want to just send all your stuff to your producer or mixer and everything, and just be like, yeah, it's not my best, but can you do your best? It's
But yeah, I mean, if you call it experimental, you can't call it bad.
Exactly.
But like,
that's why all my music's experimental.
yeah, exactly.
Nothing to compare it to. So how could it be bad relative to what?
That's a good way to look at it.
Exactly. Definitely. So we've talked a lot about music. What outside of that do you guys do? Is there any
He's gonna have to
side
think about
hobbies
it.
or anything else that you make? Because I mean, music is, like you said, a hobby. You want to enjoy it as much as you can. So I mean,
I mean, God, we're such fucking losers. I work from home. I fix stuff for a living, and then I get on a computer and I'm either listening to beats or making something in Ableton, or I'm playing or talking to Wavy, playing video games, and that's 90% of it.
what kind of games are you guys playing?
Right now we keep playing For Honor.
Yeah,
This
For
is
Honor.
like a medieval
Fighting
sort
game.
of fighting game, yeah.
Oh, I've seen some of that. It
And
looks really fun.
It was bad when it launched, but it's gotten better, but it's still not good because well, I'm not gonna admit I'm bad, so the game's bad.
Yeah, the game's bad. I understand.
On a side note, Wavy has over 1,000 hours in the game, but it is really bad according to him.
That's not even. I have 1,000 hours in so many games.
That's just his testing period.
Talking about World of Warcraft Classic. That's where the hours are.
How many you got on that?
I mean, I have just to get to level 60 in World of Warcraft Classic is almost 300, 400 hours on the same character.
Okay,
It's
alright.
just like, I mean, a lot of it revolves around medieval stuff, but I mean, when it's my turn, I'll talk more about my hobbies. I mean, anything.
I mean, that's pretty much it for me. It's a lot of games. I mean, right now it's a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2, For Honor, Rocket League. We occasionally dabble back into League of Legends, which is either the
That
best
brings
or
out the worst in everybody.
it's either the best or the worst game on the planet,
I
depending
hate
on
that
the day.
game.
It's just,
It changes me.
it
I
really
become
makes
feral.
me a significantly worse person while I'm playing it.
Yeah, if my future employers saw the way I chatted, they'd be like, "Can you leave?"
You're not welcome back here.
Shout out Permaban.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much else. I mean, that's
goes
pretty much
$800.
my thing. What about you?
So I mean, for my hobbies, I actually have a lot, and it seems to be like a problem where, and a lot of people have a thing where they just stretch out so far that they dabble very smallly in a lot of things. First and foremost, I used to play like competitive Smash, it was way better when I was living in River Falls. I was practicing with some of the best players, and I was so much better then. And this is when Smash 4 was out. There's a new game now, and I do play that, but with COVID and everything, it's hard to get into real tournaments and stuff. But I was at a point where I could make money weekly, and that was nice. If it wasn't that much, but it was still money for playing a game, you know?
Yeah.
That I was going to play for free.
Yeah.
And that's nice. But like I said, I play here and now, but once COVID's back up, maybe I'll make a return. I sort of collect guns, but it's expensive, obviously. I like going to the shooting range. I'm probably going to be joining the gun club because I really want to get like my marksmanship up and stuff. I do collect swords and medieval armor. Yeah, that's also expensive, and I haven't done it.
Doesn't sound cheap.
Yeah, no.
Because my problem is I like battle-ready stuff for whatever reason, because I'm not getting in any real medieval battle. But there's a difference between 18-gauge steel wall hangers and, fully sharpened, full tang, and, 16-gauge, 14-gauge steel. And that gets expensive. But other than that, it's just a lot of, games and collecting kind of type stuff. And like I said, I'm in college right now, and that eats up a lot of my time, and that's also where I work. So.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't mention Yoshi. Shout out Yoshi.
Dog's not a hobby. That's
yeah. Well, and I don't know if anybody's still listening after that, but I don't know if you have anything more.
It's okay, as long as they listen to the end, the beginning. It's that's all.
Now that everybody stopped listening, if you want to keep going.
All right, the nerd stuff's over.
All right, so we're kind of getting towards the end here. What do you guys got in the upcoming future here? Any projects you're working on and want to let the listener know to keep an eye out for?
Yeah, I had a little spurt of just crazy kind of music creativity for a couple weeks back in March and April, and I got 6-7 songs ready for a project, so that should be coming out soon. No title, no estimated date, but
just in the works.
It'll be silly.
Yeah, pretty much every song is done, so it's more just making sure that I have all the correct rights to get it uploaded, and I need album art. That's the biggest thing. So.
Yo, talk to your boy. Any motherfucking album art? What do you think, bro?
He does make some fire album art.
I might.
So what?
That
was him.
Yeah.
Yep, that was Ty.
I made that cover.
Sugar Funk, that was Ty. Co-op, that was Ty.
Gonna need the graphics guy.
But soon, yeah.
I want a music video. That's what I really want.
We're working on that. We're trying to get some people that make music videos so they're in our.
Or I just need to buy a motherfucking camera.
Yeah, or that.
I was actually gonna get a gimbal or something. Makes it the phone stable to record things. This is a pretty good camera.
Dude,
for
honestly,
an iPhone.
Smartphones are pretty crazy.
Yeah.
For
You'd be surprised how good the video is on an iPhone at this
point.
point.
And the gimbal's not that much money, so it's the hard part's finding the forklift.
And like you said, it's not necessarily the best equipment you have; it's what you can use.
Exactly.
So you start somewhere.
And there's a lot of charm to those old and I'm sure everyone here's heard of Lil Peep. Those old music videos, recorded with almost VHS cameras, and it's that. If it's bad, it can almost be the aesthetic of the music video. That it's a low res video,
It's a flavor,
Not everything has to be just this big budget picture, Just, dude, some of the best and most successful music videos are out there. Just a guy rapping in a grocery store, literally just with the phone in the cart. It's dude,
that's a fact though.
That's just what it is. As long as if it's the vibe of the song, it's But yeah, I guess that's my thing is I have 10 songs, just waiting for a verse and stuff, and I would like a music video in the future, and we just keep going.
Perfect.
Never stopped.
So when stuff does start coming out, where should our listeners go follow you at on social medias?
Yeah, one more time.
Yeah, so for me, LF, at Lucas W. Foley on Instagram, at LucasFoley14 on Twitter, LF on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Music, kind of wherever you get your music, and you can find me there.
For me, it's just Wavy Lynn, SoundCloud, Wavy_Lynn. I will have a Instagram and Twitter for Wavy Lynn as well soon that I'll keep updating, and hopefully more updates and songs and stuff in the future. So
perfect. Make sure you guys go follow both of them. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at CWHipHop. Prizm, where can we find you at?
You can find me on Instagram at prizmrap, PRIZMRAP, and on Facebook just as Prizm. You can also find my music on any streaming platform under the name of Prizm as well. What about you, Garke?
You guys can find me on Instagram at GarkeGains, GarkeGainz, Garke YT on Facebook, and just Garke pretty much anywhere else, Garke. You can find me on YouTube as well. I live stream a lot. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. I really appreciate you guys joining in and listening.
Yeah, we do appreciate it. We do have one other thing. Found out that we do have a Patreon. You can go follow us on Patreon. Link on CWHipHop.com. Tracy, thank you for subscribing to our Patreon. We do appreciate it. We're going to be having more with that coming out. Just kind of something we threw up, so if you do want to support us, we do have stickers on the store as well. Just kind of have the logo on some stickers and supports the station here. We'll have t-shirts coming soon. We're going to have a
merch drops soon.
Merch
Be ready. It's going to be hype.
Yes.
And thank you, Mom, for becoming our first patron.
That's his fucking mom.
Yes. We do appreciate anybody who supports us, though, even if it's our
No matter how
mothers.
big or how small, we appreciate it.
Even listening, we do appreciate every one of you. So tune in for the live show Wednesdays at 6 p.m. This will be up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all that. And thank you guys for coming in. We do appreciate your guests. We'll have you in for sure again. You guys are funny
thanks
as
for
hell.
having us.
Yeah. All right. Peace.
Peace out, guys.
Out.
Thanks for joining in.